And welcome inside the Backstage Pass. Always a busy day. And of course, our last two or three shows before we take a little week off there. Much deserved there after coming down from Country Radio Seminar 2024 at the Omni. And of course, the Doghouse and our friends at the Wild Beaver, of course. Again, thanks to our guests this week, especially Brantley Gilbert for coming on too, talking about his new single, Off the Rails. It comes out tonight, I should say, at midnight, tomorrow, March 8th. And of course, his tour starts this weekend in Alabama and goes through August the 3rd. Thanks to our sponsors out there, of course, KKTC True Country 99.9, and our friends out there too at hightidecountry.net, and powered by the Sports Guys podcast.com. I love Canadian country. We're going to stick right there and keep it a theme of it too as well. Good friend Quinton Blair joins us here. Quinton, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing great, man. Doing great.
Yeah, it's been a crazy week for us here, and of course came back with a bunch of shows this week too. I love Country Radio Seminar. I think it's one of the best events of the year that we get to go over there and actually partake in the real deal. People say if it's official, you step in those waters, and it's like, yeah, you're in the deep end there. Hey, tell the listeners out there too, especially you as an artist. I want to get to know you here at the top, and of course the listeners. I know who you are because I've listened to music quite some time. But for the listeners out there who may not know Quinton Blair as the artist, how did all this get started, and what was some of the ignition from a young kid, musical influences?
Oh man, I guess I grew up always listening to country music, listening to AM radio, and kind of when I started getting my feet wet into music, it kept always kind of drawing me back into country music. And I actually auditioned for a rock band and made the band, and called the guy the next day and said, actually, you know what, that's just not me. I'm going to be this solo project that I'm doing here, and it's been great. We're kind of like, we're a 6-piece band. We travel back and forth across the country. We play every corn dog fair and rodeo, to quote some great Toby Keith. That's what we do. So we spend all of our time just kind of traversing this country. Canada is a long country, right? And so there's a lot of times where we're driving 22 hours in one direction to play one show, to turn around and drive back, because that's just how it works when you tour up here. So it's great. It's just kind of influenced by that 70s and 90s country. I love storyteller country, and I love rodeo. So I'm a big, I guess Garth Brooks was kind of the guy that really, really showed me the ropes, as it were. And on all of his records, he's got a great cover tune, and he's got a great rodeo tune, and then he's got some great songs that go on the radio. So kind of follow that same kind of model when we play.
I love that too. And it's changed so much now with the streaming. I mean, it's like, punch in somebody's name, and there's a couple of songs to check out too. And that's the beauty of this whole thing from, I guess, my time when I grew up too, with the vinyl records and of course radio, which is still out there too at the same time, but it's a little bit different dichotomy, I guess, because if you look back at it too and you say to yourself, never would have seen this thing happen 20, 30 years ago for streaming. And it's a lot, I guess there's pros and cons to where it is now to compared to where the business was back then, right?
I think it's only pros. I think it opens up the world to a guy like me, right? Like where we got a small team, and we work hard and we hustle. My band is dedicated. We work hard. We travel. We like the whole thinking behind every live show is create a moment and a connection with the people who show up. And so we get people coming to shows who are singing our songs, and they've never seen us play before. And I'm hitting new markets, and they're running to the dance floor to sing songs with us. And it's like, it's kind of weird for me. Normally in that kind of selling CDs off the front of the stage, which I did for years, you got to play in a market before people know your music. And here we are. People just check out who's coming to town. They stream it for a couple of weeks before we get there, and then we have a great party. So I think obviously it would make more money if I sold CD stuff, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. You find a different way to make it work. And I think that a couple of things, coming out of this, post-pandemic and post, printed albums, there's a new world of country music that is, you look at guys like Zach Bryan or Coulter Wall or the country music outside of what would have normally been the mainstream, which is what we would have heard. And now we have all these different mediums, whether it be TikTok or Instagram or streaming services, that you can consume music, and it doesn't then restrict you to places where you've just played or you've had some great radio support in the past. So
let's talk about this new single. You actually dropped it today. In fact, was it today? March 7th? Tomorrow. Okay.
Tomorrow.
So I love it. But Someday Sunday is going to come out there too. That's pretty. I just love it too because I love the Apple Music stuff. What I used to stream, and of course everybody out there with streaming platforms they have. How did this get started? Give me a little backstory of this, and now people can check it out tomorrow, March 8th.
Yeah. I think you might be right. I think Apple Music leaked it early. So
they did leak it early. I just wasn't sure if the date was correct, if it was today or tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. But I did think it leaked early. But anyways, it's great. I wrote this song with a fellow by the name of Jason McCoy. Jason is a founding member of a band in Canada called the Roadhammers.
Yeah,
and they're like Canadian trucker country. It's fantastic. And actually, Jay just got into the Canadian Country Music Hall of Fame this year, so he's kind of a big deal. Yeah. And a good friend, good dude. We've both got daughters who are like 12, 13 years old, and we play with them all the time. We were chit-chatting, saying like, we got to find a way to write a song about what it's like being a horse dad, right? Because it's like, that's different. And then we started kicking around that idea, and then we're like, we like this idea of Someday Sunday, and the whole premise being that, like, time doesn't stand still. Kids grow up, relationships dissolve. We run out of time, and we always kind of think that, one day we're going to do this thing. Like, one day I'll go fishing with my dad, or one day I'll take my daughter on this road trip. And the reality is that life changes beyond our control faster than we want to, admit or recognize. And so this song is all about, what's that thing that you don't want to put off anymore? Let's make today our Someday Sunday. And so our whole campaign around the release is just trying to stir up people in my following to say, like, hey, what's that thing that you've been putting off? And it's great because you're seeing everything from, like, I want to fly a helicopter through the mountains in Banff National Park, and I've got, I want to take my neighbor for coffee. It is the whole gamut from bucket list to, like, every day about what do you want to do to just make today count and make a memory, make a connection with the people who hold the biggest place in your heart. So
I love it too. We were talking about this before the show. We did the event Show Dog and Friends last week on Friday, March 1st, and amazing crowd, elbow to elbow, the Wild Beaver Saloon right there on Commerce, which was fantastic. Artists out in line and droves with their instruments to come on and share their favorite memories, Quinton, of what Toby Keith meant to them and their career and the icon that he was. 32 number one hits, and 20 of them he wrote by himself. Still crazy enough to say those staggering numbers. For you, big fan of him growing up, probably, obviously, and what did he mean to impact your career?
Well, absolutely. I mean, I should have been a cowboy. It was fantastic. I love that line. I mean, I stole it already, and I said I use it every day. And people ask me what I do. I'm like, we play every corn dog fair and rodeo. Maybe one day I'll sell out every basketball arena, but for now, I mean, I think of Toby all the time, just based on that kind of a reference. But that era of 90s kind of into the 2000s kind of country, and he wasn't afraid to just say what he believed and stand by it. You know what? People are gonna, it's like anything that we do, right? They love you or they hate you. It doesn't matter, but you got to know what you believe. You got to be yourself, and you got to be able to just communicate that. And so, always hats off to Toby Keith. I think my favorite tune from him, I was in Cuba playing a country music festival on his passing, and so I played "Should Have Been a Cowboy" in a really nice, in a tribute kind of way. It was just me and my guitar, so I slowed it right down and really broke it down and let everyone kind of soak in that moment for a bit. But Just Crash Here Tonight, that would be my favorite Toby Keith. Almost Said I Love You. Yeah, it's just like, so good. So good. I probably shouldn't have just broke out singing, but
Brett, I tell you what, man, I'm never against a good time here on the show. We got to take a break here in a second. But if you got a guitar and you want to play one for us when this thing's over, I am game for that too. It's just up to you. Want to do that. Don't threaten me with a good time. We will have one here on the Backstage Pass, almost like a Facebook takeover. The artists are doing there with the microphones and everything in person, just playing it or streaming it too as well. And like I said, if you want to do something acoustic, man, feel free to do that. We're going to come back and talk a lot about one of my favorite songs you get to check out called $20 Bottle. I thought it was a unique title and lyrically very good from Quinton Blair. Take a quick time out too as well, but of course you guys know that of course Easter's coming up too as well. If you want to get some of that great jewelry out there, the perfect gift for a spouse or a family member, Jewelry by Tommy's got you covered. Email burleysystem@yahoo.com today to order. BUEHRLE system@yahoo.com. And of course out there it's handcrafted, handmade. It's jewelry by Tommy. Quick timeout, more with Quinton Blair. It is the Backstage Pass, KKTC True Country 99.9, and our friends at HighTideCountry.net. Stay tuned.
Ever thought about owning your own business? Tanya Lapsley-Cockett did. She decided a little over 5 years ago that she was going to be an entrepreneur, so she started her travel business. Tanya is married and works a full-time job. Her business has given her amazing opportunities. Not only does she get to help people create memories by booking their vacations, sporting and entertainment tickets, rental cars, etc., but it has also allowed her to help other families create legacy income. The travel industry is extremely lucrative and is an $8 trillion industry. The travel industry is projected to earn in excess of $15 trillion over the next 10 years. The travel industry pays its professionals up to 70 to 80% commission on the travel that they book for themselves and their clients. As a travel business owner, Tanya books travel and teaches others how to own and operate their own travel business. She is a director in training on the marketing side of her business, where she has helped over 90 families start their own businesses. If you're interested in owning your own travel business, please contact Tanya at 917-743-1199 or at ladytlc3555@me.com.
The Caden Gordon Show. Today's best country mix is a 2-hour show playing independent and mainstream country music you know and love. Be sure to check it out at thecadengordonshow.com for more information on the show.
The Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass. And back on the show, Quinton Blair joining us here. Of course, the latest single, Someday, Sunday. I love that title. Just kind of reels off. Say that about 5-6 times fast. Out there, too, KKTC True Country 99.9, and our friends out there, HighTideCountry.net, and always at the SportsGuysPodcast.com. We're actually live on the website and all those places right now. We're live at, too, as well, on Facebook and YouTube out there, too. I got to ask you about a $20 bottle. Thought this was a very unique song, very catchy, lyrically very good. You really put a good spin on this in the studio, and when you guys got to record this, talk about the making of $20 Bottle for me.
Yeah. So it's a $20 bottle I wrote down in Nashville with a fellow by the name of Jason Blaine, who's another great Canadian songwriter. And we were trying to write this song, she buys her wine 4 liters at a time, or $20 bottle of wine, or what are we going to do for that? And Jay looks at me, he's like, you're a cowboy. Like, this is a moonshine song all day long. And I do a lot of like backcountry camping with horses and stuff. And so my buddy brings his team of mules along, Betty and Wilma, for our trip in September. And so we were hanging out with the mules. And a couple of weeks later, I flew down to Tennessee and was doing all these rights. And then when Jason says that, it's got to be like a cowboy, kind of, tough, rough, kick him in the gut, kick you in the stomach, kick you in the teeth. I said, it'll kick you like a mule. It'll put a hitch in your hobble. And then he looks at me and he says, because it's a whole lot of trouble in a $20 bottle. And then that was where we had the line. Now we just had to write the rest of the song.
Jason Blaine, fantastic song. He is. Yeah,
love it. And Pete Lesperance, my producer's from Toronto. He plays guitar in a couple different bands, but Harem Scarum is what he's built his career around. He's toured the world playing like melodic metal music, and so having him produce it, when you sit back and listen to it and go, oh, there's like a guy who plays like melodic rock as a producer, you go back and you listen to the guitar lines and you're going, yeah, it's country, but it's like it's a different kind of angle to the country melody. And what I love about that is he's like the secret sauce. He's like, it just changes the way that the song goes because he's not, 100% pure country. He's got this background touring the world, playing this melodic, heavy rock, and it's so great. So he did a great job, and he did Someday Sunday as well. So, it's kind of following into the same vein a bit. It's not the same kind of up-tempo kind of party barn burner like $20 Bottle was, but he's definitely got an ear for melody that I just love. So he's a great guy to work with.
No, he's great. Jason Blaine just actually helped write one of my co-hosts here, and just a great Canadian female, Elise Saunders, here on the Backstage Pass 2. Her single "Never Have I Ever," which is top 40 on Canadian country radio.
That's right, yeah.
Jason Blaine, we've talked to here on the show many, many times, and you mentioned another great guy, Jason McCoy, the Roadhammers. I had him on just about maybe a month ago before I went to Nashville. So it's just crazy how things stay busy, and that's my next question there, Quinton. So much talent is in the water in Canada. What's in this water, and how does this talent just rise above and like wanting to put their mark on Nashville now because so many great Canadian country artists are doing their thing?
Well, it's pretty interesting. I mean, like before this phone call, I spent the last hour and a half, 2 hours clearing snow. So what, like Manitoba specifically, like, when you get to your Toronto or you get to your Calgarys or your Vancouvers, your larger centers, of course there's great music, but the percentage of like world-class players that come out of Winnipeg, and you're talking everybody, like your Neil Young or your Randy Bachman or there's a whole list of phenomenal players, or even if you like just see who's touring and who's playing in which bands. There's Winnipeggers playing in everybody's band. And the reason being is because our winters are so cold. You either play hockey or you learn to play an instrument because you have to get through the winter somehow. So I love going to there's this dive bar in downtown Winnipeg called the Times Change. And it's like, it's the bar on the prairies. It's small. I think the capacity is like 100 people in there. But you go in there and all you're going to see is musicians and phenomenal players from all sorts of genres, from everything from folk to blues to country to rock. It's like everybody's there. And it's such a neat place just to go and like catch up with people. And it's such a working musicians kind of place. And it's a great place to be. But yeah, it's that snow. Like it just, what else are you going to do? You're going to hop in a van as soon as it gets nice. You're going to drive across the country a couple times, and then you're going to buckle down and get through winter. Or if you're really smart, you book your writing trips in, December till March, and you go do all your writing at least down to Nashville when the weather's, dictating.
The backup pathway to country music. When it's cold, you schedule your rights down in the wintertime down there too. I love the song Man of Constant Sorrow. This came out as a single for you guys, I believe 2021. Shed some light for us on this one too, because I really enjoyed listening to this track.
Yeah, that was Dwayne Thompson. He produced that track. So great songwriter. He wrote Champagne Night, so that hit #1. So Canadian boy, like fantastic, just a nice guy, just a nice dude to hang out with. And so that was like a COVID thing going, what are we going to do? We got to do something. And so we said, like, what if you produce it from Nashville and, I'll stay up here in Canada and we'll kind of work via Zoom and we'll send tracks back and forth. So I recorded all the vocals right here in this room and sent the fiddle tracks out to my fiddle player who lives north of Winnipeg. And I think he had the drummer, I can't remember the drummer's name on the track, but it was from Australia. Like we really just like had this like opportunity to globally work around with this new technology that we're all kind of like really dialing in on to say, let's produce a song and actually not be in the same room. And so we got Man of Constant Sorrow out of that, and really happy with how that one came out too. So we're excited as far as where things are headed, and we've got some really great tunes sort of in the tank that we're going to be bringing to life in the next 6 months or so. And it's fun to like kind of come out of like figure out what things look like with our business model, which is like a road dog, work hard, tour bus living kind of band, and just go and see the world. So it's the best job.
It really is. And I was going to ask you about that too, because a lot of fans can see the glitz and glamour. I'm in it, so I know how rough this business is, and it can just change on a dime. When you think you've got something put together, you really don't. You got to go back and look at it 2, 3, 4 times, because I also do some other things just beside the show. in doing this at the same time, and how much work this is. And now I have a more of appreciation of what I do, not just the radio side, but also kind of the US side for some booking stuff that I do. But what's crazy is talk about those challenges that maybe from your standpoint that fans don't see, the challenges in the industry just for an artist and specifically for you.
Well, I mean, we already talked about the distance. Like, the reality is it's hard to cross the border. Mm-hmm. So I can have, Minneapolis is 8 hours away, and that's got more people than I can hit with when I drive 20 hours in Canada. Sure. Yeah. But I can't get there because it's just such a struggle to make that happen. So you learn to deal with it. We are in Manitoba, and we play almost primarily onto the prairies, but that puts us in like a 30-hour driving window on average. So we hop on the bus every Thursday. I cook for the band because it's far cheaper and far easier than trying to pull over and run 6 guys through a drive-through or whatever. So I bring the food with us, and so we hop on the bus Thursday night, drive through the night, arrive around 3:00 for our sound check, play a show, play the next night, and then drive home on Sunday. And it's like, get home, catch up on sleep, start cooking again, and get back on. Like, the grind is impressive, especially when we're living essentially on weekend work. Like, there's not a lot happening on a Tuesday night somewhere on the prairies. You basically play Friday and Saturday, and you get back home again. So one of the biggest struggles is that. And I mean, we're a 6-piece band. Started as a 4-piece and then added a fiddle into it. You can't turn back once you had a fiddle. And we added in another auxiliary player, and it's like, you can't turn back once you have that. And it's great, but feeding 6 guys, and we bring a bus driver sometimes with us, or I drive the bus as well. And it's a grind. And then you get home and it's paperwork. Like, I don't think people know how much like actual computer time goes into being an artist too. That's that's probably an overlooked thing. You're writing grants, you're writing reports, you're trying to help your management and your agent team, and just like, hey, what about this show? What about this show? I'll do this, you do that. So we're very grassroots and very very small team, but I like that because then I know all the time like that I've got such a hand in what's happening. And so that's what makes me so excited for our trajectory, where we're headed. I
don't blame you too. Like I said, 2024 always awesome to think about here too as well. The floodgates have kind of opened back up, and now off to a good start too. That's a cool feeling too, no doubt about it too. We'll take our final time out here too for the radio side of it too. KKTC True Country 99.9 and our friends at hightidecountry.net. More with Quinton Blair, but first up too, if you're looking for that gift for the spouse, friend, family member, Jewelry by Tommy's got you covered. Email burleysystem@yahoo.com today to order. BUEHRLE system at yahoo.com. It's handmade, handcrafted. It's jewelry by Tommy. More with Quinton Blair and, of course, Peyton Porter coming up here in a little bit on the Backstage Pass, a full day of country music. Tomorrow we'll have a show, and then we're taking a week off to decompress from CRS 2024. More with Quinton here. Stay tuned.
The Bangtail Pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
The Kate & Gordon Show is a 2-hour show playing the best in country music. So check it out at thekateandgordonshow.com. Again, that is thekateandgordonshow.com.
Ever thought about owning your own business? Tanya Lapsley-Cockett did. She decided a little over 5 years ago that she was going to be an entrepreneur, so she started her travel business. Tanya is married and works a full-time job. Her business has given her amazing opportunities. Not only does she get to help people create memories by booking their vacations, sporting and entertainment tickets, rental cars, etc., but it has also allowed her to help other families create legacy income. The travel industry is extremely lucrative and is an $8 trillion industry. The travel industry is projected to earn in excess of $15 trillion over the next 10 years. The travel industry pays its professionals up to 70 to 80% commission on the travel that they book for themselves and their clients. As a travel business owner, Tanya books travel and teaches others how to own and operate their own travel business. She is a director in training on the marketing side of her business, where she has helped over 90 families start their own businesses. If you're interested in owning your own travel business, please contact Tanya at 917-743-1199 or at ladytlc3555@me.com.
Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass. And back here, KKTC True Country 99.9 out there too. Tomorrow morning, Shelley will have a good call. And of course, feature a new single out there, March the 8th, always every Friday too as well. Not just the 8th of March, but every Friday too. Quinton's is out there someday, Sunday across all the digital streaming platforms. And we're going to play a little bit tomorrow. We can't tell you who, but just tune in there, 8:30 Central Time, 7:30 Mountain Time. And you never know, we just might play Quinton's new single tomorrow on the radio there as we promo for next week and taking off next week for vacation here. And our friends at hightidecountry.net and always the Sports Guys podcast.com. I got to have a little fun with you here, a little rapid fire to kind of finish up. I love doing this. I get to know you more on a personal basis, which is a good thing. And of course, the fans in our markets out there where we're syndicated do as well. All right. So obviously, probably a routine question from Canada, hockey. Who's your team?
Oh, I'm a Jets fan. I grew up being a Bruins fan too, though. So
Okay.
Jets and Bruins, and then I spent so much time in Alberta. You're either Calgary or you're Edmonton, and unfortunately, they're kind of going two different ways. But I'm a Flames fan, so
Good stuff out there too. I got to get to the Calgary Stampede one year. I heard it's one hell of an experience. So many great artists have played there, from 90s country, who the artists from Canada, to even the current artists like yourself today. Have you played that? And if not, is that on a bucket list? Is that a dream stage to step on?
I definitely I've played Stampede. I played it a number of years ago, but on one of the really side stages. But we got to play it last year on one of the main stages.
Wow.
And it was fantastic. They put through 180,000 people a day, just under the rodeo grounds. Like, that's a lot of people going to a rodeo, and it's a great event. And yeah, I'm excited. Like, we go to Calgary for Stampede now every year, and we live in the bus for 12 days at a time. But yeah, we'll definitely be around it. That's the cool part, is it's not just on the site, it's in the entire city. So we'll play Ranchman's and the King Eddie and all like the really cool bars in town as well. So it's a party all week long.
I love that too. I can't wait to get up there. I've been to the Alberta side, that province, and of course everything from good friends that live in Grand Prairie and just right there near Edmonton. So I love, got to get down to Calgary, which is going to be one year for the Stampede there too. I love this album you did, Blues Man, back in 2014. I thought it was just some good work out there too, because the title track itself, and then of course Time Keeps on Ticking. I thought that was like a philosophy of a life lesson we can really learn out there too, because that is a true song. And hit on some of those highlights, man, because this Blues Man thing was a great piece of work. It really was.
Thanks. Yeah, that's Time Keeps on Ticking was my first radio single, first song that radio ever picked up and played around a bunch of the community stations around Manitoba. And that was the song I wrote about a small town and the struggles that they go through, yet finding hope and love in the midst of it all. And there was, some of the major manufacturers were shutting down in my area, and, beef and hog prices were in the tank, and, my farming buddies didn't know what was going to happen. And so I wrote that song kind of for all those kind of small town folks, and people have always migrated to that tune. That's the hit off of that album for sure.
I love it, man. Give me some of the favorite places to eat up there when you guys do eat out. You mentioned you like to cook. What do you like to cook? And then when you do eat out, where do you eat out?
I love to cook Mexican, and I love to go out for Mexican. So it's
There you go.
it's both sides of it. Like, the guys get a lot of either pulled pork tacos, or I'll do brisket tacos, or we'll do flank steaks or burnt ends, or we'll do whatever. So I love smoking meat. I love cooking, but I love just to go out and eat. Good barbecue. That's the thing I like to go for. It's a good barbecue.
You said burnt ends, and I was like, I'm hungry for those right now because I didn't eat much for lunch today. Good place here in Texas where I'm at too. It's got some pretty good burnt ends as well. down here too. But I love going to different parts of the country and just traveling. I think that's one of the best things to do. And I just actually had a chicken conundrum in Nashville, and Hattie B's was out the line. The line was out the door, and we're standing there, myself and a couple of people, and we're just like, man, this is it's worth the wait, man. Best hot chicken I've ever had. And it was I couldn't decide to go there or if I was going to do the Prince's hot chicken or something like that, but or party fowl. There's so many of them there. It's crazy. But the medium flavor was like the one to pick. So if you're ever in Nashville and you haven't done the hot chicken, you got to put it on the list to go check out there too. Dude, I love this single. Someday Sunday. Looking forward to checking it out there too. For all the fans should. I've already checked it out across all the streaming platforms. Make sure you guys do that and go give Quinton a like across all the social media. Hey, we'll finish up with this one too. At any level of your music career, when you step behind a microphone, and it could be a cover, what song like belted out? What came out?
Probably one of my favorites. I don't know what happens to me when I play Tulsa Time, but something happens and the entire show changes. And I just kind of like, I don't do anything. I don't have like any stage antics or anything, but the show change. That's when you hit sort of the that's when you're hitting fifth gear on the show, is when Tulsa Time comes on. And for whatever reason, it just kind of resonates through my body. I just let it go. And it's a fun kind of show. I mean, having that big 6-piece band with me, I mean, all the pressure off of me playing an instrument. I mean, I could play the guitar, I could play acoustic, all that kind of stuff. But then, so Tulsa Time is, I think, that first moment of the show where it's just like I just get to let go and let her buck. And then $20 Bottle is obviously such a fan favorite to play. But and then actually in another tune, we do we start with just an a cappella version of Man of Constant Sorrow. And then it works itself into the Orange Blossom Special, where I'll run out into the crowd and start polkaing with whoever's at the show. So that's another great moment. We just have a lot of fun when we play music. That's all. But yeah,
country music is supposed to be about, man. I tell you, it's awesome. And I love this new single. And if Apple Music jumped the gun and the fans heard it, hey, like I said, it's tomorrow or tonight at midnight.
What are you going to do?
Come out, whatever. What are you going to do when it comes down to it? But it was cool because I'd already checked it out before. Apple Music hit it. That's the exclusive. When you have a radio show, you get sent stuff in advance when it gets to pitches and things out there, man. And I thought the pitch-wise, you were great on the vocals and a great fit for what I'm doing here at the Backstage Pass. Brother, appreciate the time. Someday Sunday across all those digital streaming platforms. Go check it out. Give him a visit and a like on social media if you haven't already. Quinton Blair here on the Backstage Pass. Quinton, appreciate the time, my friend. Looking forward to catching up. Safe travels out there, my man.
Absolutely, brother. Thank you so much.
Got it. Quinton Blair here on the Backstage Pass. We're not done today. Peyton Porter coming up. Nashville recording artist. Her new EP is actually out. It came out last Friday when we were in Nashville, called Grown. Talking about those 6 songs and a lot with Peyton Porter here on the Backstage Pass. HighTideCountry.net, powered by the Sports Guys Podcast.com and our friends out there in Taos, New Mexico, and up into Colorado. KTC True Country 99.9. We're back in a flash. Stay tuned for more.